All right, welcome everyone. My name is Kelly Gunther. I'd like to welcome you to The Art of Calm, a modern day approach integrating CBD into your organization. Joining us today on our conversation is Dr. Carrie Ulrich. She is the CEO and co-founder of Abrachi Group and the co-author of The Way of the HR Warrior. Myself, Kelly Gunther, COO and co-founder of Abrachi Group. And our special guest today is Mark Gura. He is the VP of E-Farms, and we look forward to hearing all of the great information he has to share with us about how to infuse CBD into a wellness program that you may already have, or if you don't have one, how you can create one yourself. So with that, our objectives for today's webinar are really to learn how CBD can positively impact employee wellness, especially now, given a lot of the challenges a lot of us are facing. This is, I think, a very timely topic, and we'd like to be cutting edge here at Abrachi Group and at the Way of the HR Warrior. So this is a topic that we wanted to dive deeply into. Also, we want to give you an opportunity to ask your questions. So we anticipate there will be a lot, so please do go ahead and post your questions in the chat feature. And we will definitely pose those questions to Mark as we go through our session today. We've also come up with a few of the questions that we think you may already have, and we'll pose those to Mark as well. So we'll also share some actions that you can take, just like we, all HR warriors, you are all action-oriented people and goal-oriented people. So we want to be able to inspire you to think about some ways in which you can take what you're learning today and apply it into your workplace setting. So with that, very excited to announce that this program is then SHRM and HRCI approved. So what that means is that if you attend for the duration of our conversation today, I will send an email to you with the course codes in which you can then apply for the credit for both SHRM and HRCI, excuse me. So I will send a separate email to those of you who have attended the duration of our webinar today so that you can then claim those credits through the respective organizations. Thank you so much for those of you attending again and being part of our conversation. We're so excited to have you. Participating in our conversation is easy. Even though we have everyone muted to increase clarity purposes, we do welcome your questions. And when you do post your question or comment in the chat feature, it's an incentive for you because you have an opportunity to win a copy of Carrie's book, The Way of the HR Warrior, and you have an opportunity to win a complimentary CBD oil from Mark and E-Farms. So it's really a great way for you to understand more about the Way of the HR Warrior and more about E-Farms. So we'll also provide you a discount code for use on purchases at efarms.com, so make sure you stick around for that. Also, if you want to keep the connection going with anyone that you are speaking with, perhaps in the chat, in our conversation today, please go ahead and exchange your contact information with one another. And this conversation is also being recorded. So if there's anyone that you feel would benefit from attending our call today who maybe didn't have an opportunity to attend, direct them to our website and we'll have this information posted. I'll also send a webinar with this information as well as a lot of the information that Mark will be sharing with you today. All right, so with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Carrie Ulrich, who will share with us her thoughts and introduce you to our guest speaker, Mark Gura. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Hi, everyone. We're back. For those of you who have followed our HR Warrior webinars, you know, we talked about we were going to move our platform to podcast for HR Warriors, but as you all know, insert unprecedented, new normal, pivot, right now, we all are dealing with COVID-19. And so Kelly and I wanted to add something that would help, right? And, you know, we try to be unconventional here. We want to give you practical advice. And we know how stressful it is. And it's stressful in ways for everyone that we don't even know about. I was just talking to someone yesterday and one of his cousins passed away. She's a nurse and she was 42 or something in Arizona. And so we don't even know that, you know, he has a job, he's working. So you kind of ask that question, are you working? But then What about your relatives and your family, and how is everyone doing? And so we know it's stressful. We wanted to add and not make you more stressed out by telling you to sleep, which we all know we have to sleep. Mark will talk about that. We all know we have to sleep. But Kelly and I didn't want to say, like, try to bake bread. I heard someone the other day say, if I get one more sourdough base notice that here's a sourdough base, you can bake bread, she's going to start screaming because she has no time to bake bread. So we didn't want to add to your anxiety. We wanted to help. So Kelly and I thought, well, how could we help, right? How can we do something that's practical, that's very kind of moving the needle, unconventional, very vanguard, if you will. So we thought, you know what, we were talking to Mark about at E Farms. We've known him for over a year, almost 2 years now. And he was talking about his wellness program. We're like, oh my God, this would be great. Let's have a webinar where it's very practical. We can talk about wellness, but there's something you can actually do. There's something you can take. There's something that can help you through this, because we know it's stressful. And, us at the Warriors, we don't tell you about something unless we've tried it and we know it and we believe in it. And so both Kelly and I use the CBD oils. I will tell you, I love it. I love it. It cuts. I'm a very goal-oriented, high sense of urgency person. And the CBD oil just helps calm that sense of urgency down just a bit, just to the point where it's good. I still get my work done, but I don't have like 15 conversations going on about all the stuff I have to do. And so it's really, really helpful. And it's helpful in managing that anxiety. I knew about CBD oil because of pain. My doctor even recommended it. I had a finger issue. They said, put this CBD oil on it. That really helped, but I didn't know until we started talking with Mark about the helping with the anxiety. And so that's why Kelly and I really wanted to talk to you today about, hey, this is really great. This is a way HR could help employees with little to no work and cost. So we thought, this is really cool. Let's push the boundaries. And of course, what I love about everyone on the phone who signed up is you're also willing to be open and push those boundaries. And if anything can be, if we can push the boundaries now, right, this is the time. So if we were talking to some HR people who have been begging for remote work for over a year, they got nothing. Now, of course, they got their remote work. I talked to a therapist and I told him, hey, you should do, this is in January, hey, you should do online, right? You should do, a lot of people have like talk therapy platforms and you can do it via Zoom and other platforms. He's like, I don't want to do it. And guess what? Now he's doing it. So we're at the point where I think more and more people will be open to different ways of doing things. And this is really exciting. And so here's one way you could do that. And so, but I still wanted to I love these quotes about just kind of getting through COVID-19. And there have been other unprecedented events, right? There have been influenzas before, there have been pandemics. And so how do you get through it? And you will get through it. And these are from two writers. I've read a lot of Haruki Murakami's, a Japanese writer, and love his books. And before I had a child and I read and I was really smart, I knew all his books. I don't know them anymore, but I love these quotes. Someone sent them to me and I just thought they were so great. And I just wanted to share them with you because it is very helpful to say, you know what, you're right, we get through it. And you can also kind of, shed some of the crap maybe that you've had and get through it in a different way and kind of change some of your outlooks. And, try online, try CBD, try to do some new things. And I almost think sometimes that new normal hurts us because it calls it normal again. And just, how do you ebb and flow and how do you move with the ocean instead of fighting it all the time? Right? So if there's a great example, if you hold water in your hand open, it stays there. If you try to squeeze it, it all comes out, right? So how do you kind of hold all this tension and all this change and nurture it instead of trying to squeeze it and get rid of it? So, all right, I'll stop now. So that's why we wanted to have this webinar. We're really excited. We use the product. It's been really helpful for me and Kelly. And like I said, we're always trying to push boundaries. What different things could HR do and bring great things to the organization? So let's just get into it, because we only talk for a few minutes because it's all about our business leaders. So excited to talk about Mark. Mark, as you will tell, has zero energy. Just joking. He is so energetic. We love talking to him first thing in the morning because it gets us going, and we're always like thinking and have new ideas. He is entrepreneur at heart. He has a sales background. He's all about volunteering and helping people. And you'll see in his LinkedIn, he does a lot of work with homeless and HIV people. And so what I love when we talk to Mark, we're talking to him about how people feel better using CBD oils, and he gets goosebumps from it because he gets so much joy from helping people. He's so excited. And so that's why you can tell he's so joyous with CBD. And that's one of the reasons that he wants HR and how can we get it to more people in wellness. So I will let Mark take over and talk about CBD, and I'm sure you're going to have questions. And take it away, Mark. Thank you so much for being on our webinar.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I really appreciate all you guys being so forward thinking and really partnering up with us on this cutting edge initiative. And for all the participants that are joining, thank you so much as well with your open mind. I hope all of you are staying safe, healthy, sane. I know it's pretty crazy, but we're excited to talk about our program today. And I think you're going to get in a lot of new knowledge and information, gain a lot more clarity, and possibly feel a lot more calmer about the future here. But a little bit about the background in the company. We're headquartered in San Francisco. We're a hemp manufacturer, operator, and our operating ethos and philosophy always centers around quality and purity, but additionally around education and balance. And as you see, as we talk about the pillars of our wellness program, as you see the benefits of what hemp can actually provide you, it's really tying back to this theme of balance. And we as an organization, as we talked about the 6 pillars of wellness, I think the first 5, a lot of us are very well aware of these things. However, we forget about them because of all the distractions of life and all the stressors of life. But the reality is, for our bodies to run optimally, for your organs to be great, and for your brain to function better, you need proper hydration. Your body is majority water. So, one of the things I like to do is I keep a Yeti with me. If anyone that knows me, I always have a Yeti with me, and I'm just chugging water throughout the day. Nutrition, we all know we need to eat healthier, and I'm guilty of this as well. Being stuck inside with the shelter in place program, it's very easy to be on the couch, watch Netflix, open up the bag of Doritos, eat some cookies, but at the same time, balance. That stuff is, you are what you eat, let thy food be thy medicine. And if you're eating artificial stuff, your body is going to become more artificial. If you're eating more natural stuff like fruits and vegetables and proper hydration, you're going to see a major boost. Same with exercise. We weren't meant to be sedentary animals. With the way that we work today, what we're doing now, we're sitting down, we're engaged with the screen. But guess what? Disconnect. Get out there, go out, move your body, work out, stretch. Your body needs it, and you're going to release endorphins and other chemicals that are going to make you happier. You're going to have more self-confidence. You're going to feel better about yourself. With all those things, now you need proper rest. Let's face it. We all want to achieve great things, and having goals is awesome. Who doesn't want goals? But what the challenge is, if we get too steadfast on that, no balance again, and you don't give yourself the proper self-love, you don't get the proper amount of sleep. We've all seen it. You're cranky in the morning. Your brain's not as clear, and it's tough. So make sure you get the proper amount of sleep. And my girlfriend has given me some great suggestions about this. One of our rituals that we've tried to do as near the nighttime is start to reduce that artificial light. Think about when you go camping, your body gets in touch with the circadian rhythm of the sun going up and down because you don't have artificial light bleeding into your eyes, tricking your brain. So that's a good a good strategy that we do that really helps us out as well. But for mindfulness, I know this is a new term a lot of people hear bubbling up. As we think about all the things that we have to do, the stressors of life again, it's important to take a step back. We have rest for our muscles. We have rest for, the body when we sleep and stuff like that. But where's the rest for the mind? When do you quiet your mind? We have so much new stimuli. I got to do this. Oh, what about this bill? oh, the kids, I got to go pick them up for this. Guess what? Everyone's dealing with the same stuff. But try to disconnect from it. That stuff will always be there, and it's not going anywhere. So the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to take a step back, work on some breathing exercises, go for a walk in the forest. It could be working out, meditate, yoga, whatever that means for you to allow your brain to relax. But now, with all that being said, let's get into the good stuff, what you're really here for, cannabinoids. Now, this is our sixth pillar. Why do we add this? A lot of people are not aware your body actually has a system that can receive the phytocannabinoids from plants such as hemp and cannabis. Your body, if you're not aware of this, actually produces natural cannabinoids. They're called endocannabinoids. And when things are deficient or your receptors need proper stimulation, etc., you can then receive the plant cannabinoids to then be able to give you that relief, just like eating fruits or vegetables. So we can go on to the next slide. Hydration here. So the ECS, that's an acronym you'll see regularly. We use that for endocannabinoid system again. And think about the system comprised of two receptors, CB1 and CB2. These receptors are located throughout your brain, on your skin, throughout your immune system, and they play different functions. And I'm not going to get too deep into the science, and we can have future webinars and other things where we start to progress this knowledge. But what we're understanding as a general whole is very powerful. Right now, it's a lot of anecdotal stories because the historical legislation on cannabis and hemp and the historical messaging on cannabis and hemp has always been derogatory. It's been demonized. But the truth is coming out. And what are we realizing? That it has very high anti-inflammatory properties. It's really great for treating pain reduction and highly effective in combating anxiety. So as we learn more and we work through these anecdotal stories, it's great to try to aggregate those feedbacks and go up onto our website. We're starting to collect a lot of people and their feedback, and Carrie and Kelly really appreciate yours as well, about how it's helping them individually. And so for the pain and if it's skin issues, we're hearing that our oil can even be applied onto the skin to help combat things like acne. So it's pretty wild. But as its core, as you think about it, it's all tying back to balance. When something is off, you're getting acne or you're feeling out of whack, your balance is off. And so look back to those pillars and see if you're missing something. And that might be able to guide you better towards your wellness. Go on to the next slide. So what does our wellness program rollout look like? You know, we wanted to make this easy as possible and as simple as straightforward for everybody that we work with. You know, we want to be strategic partners to the people that we work with. We already know you have so much on your plate. You're being bombarded with so many new initiatives, so many to-dos. We don't want to bombard you with more. We think that what's great about our program is the fact that there is almost no work involved for you at all. All we want is a designated point person to mention, decide what kind of assets they want us to create, and we do all the work for you. And then we provide you the assets, and you can distribute them to your team. From a cost perspective, there's absolutely zero cost to your organization. The other thing that we want to do is, of course, we want to measure impact. You know, wellness programs, as people are trying to gather more engagement, more intel, just better see if it's making a better impact to the bottom line. How can we contribute to that? And one of the things is engagement through surveys, engagement period, but also through surveys that we will send out, because everything we want to do is for full compliance. You know, everything that we operate is 100% hemp. It's not cannabis. I know you're going to have some other questions, and we'll address that. There's absolutely zero cost for your organization. And we've actually worked with some other companies and been vetted by their legal teams. Very, very. Other than that, the rollout program is very straightforward. Pretty much 3 easy steps. All right, let's go into the FAQs. You know, some common questions here. Will it make employees high? You know, first and foremost, let's segment that out. There's a thing called broad spectrum and full spectrum oil. Our broad spectrum contains actually no THC whatsoever. This is great for organizations or sports teams or professions that have very strict drug testing policies, things around THC. However, our full spectrum products do have trace amounts of delta-9 THC. That is the compound that provides euphoria. But that's also what we're understanding of what we call the entourage effect. And when you have these other compounds together, they elevate the experience. And I guess the best analogy I can give you is imagine someone's playing a saxophone standalone. It sounds beautiful, playing a great song. But now imagine a bunch of other instruments, and now you have an orchestra. That sound, the beauty of that, and all of it is so much more elevated. Think about that with these compounds in hemp and cannabis. CBD for itself is amazing, but what we're starting to understand is when you have terpenes and delta-9 THC and these other compounds, it can better combat pain. It can better combat anxiety. But the fundamental thing that we all know is everybody is different. Everybody has got different genetics, different systems. And so it really comes down to seeing what works best for you. We, of course, we recommend starting low and slow. Do not ever operate any heavy machinery when trying new products such as CBD oils, whether it's broad spectrum or full spectrum, just because you don't know how it's going to affect you yet. So we always recommend low and slow, and always do from the comfort of your home. I'm trying to think, what's the next? Oh, time commitment, as mentioned, very little from you all. It's pretty much nothing. As we just went through the prior slide, all you have to do is designate what type of communication tools that you want. We create all the assets, we provide them to you, and you distribute them out. Now you're done. What's the cost? Absolutely nothing to your organization. But your employees, they're going to get 50% off all of our product SKUs. We want to make sure that employees are having tough times. We don't want to create more burden. We want this program to be easy to roll out. We want there to be massive benefit for your organization. And what better way than giving 50% off all of our products? I guess we'll open it up to maybe some other questions. These were ones that we thought would be probably most commonly asked. But
Thank you. Thank you for the great presentation. And there was a question that came, and you can stay on video if you would like to, Mark. Barbara asked a question. She said, is it addictive? So kind of going up to question one, will it make employees high? Is there an addictive factor?
No, that's a good question. I can't say effectively one way or another. I will say from personal experience, and I will say from anecdotal stories, higher THC products do have habit-forming type of things, okay? And I don't want to say there's absolutely nothing negative about it. But at the same time, what I've seen from personal experience and anecdotal stories is that quitting it is not that hard as well. It's challenging like a lot of other habits, but I've been able to quit cannabis many times in my life when I've wanted to. And the biggest things I've noticed during that time is a sense of irritability and other things in the beginning, but then it's normalcy. It's kind of like, I guess, the equivalent of maybe quitting caffeine or coffee.
That's a great, thank you for that. And Barbara and others who have questions about the program, which I think, again, you've laid out a really nice kind of three-step approach. I'm just going to go back to that slide. And I'm sorry, I've got the animations here just to give everyone a look. Because I think as HR professionals, we often wonder, well, I've got a lot going on. How much more of a commitment might this take? And I would say too, if you have someone, if you're in an organization where maybe you have a wellness dedicated professional, maybe you've got someone who is focused solely on wellness or wellness and health or something, that you maybe engage that person in the conversation, have them reach out to Mark, learn more. But he's really tried to take, I think, a lot of the guesswork and really almost all the guesswork out of the equation they make the assets, they create all of the communication materials, which is a major win as far as I'm concerned. But again, it's definitely something, to be considering. Another question that came through, is it FSA or HSA? So flexible spending account, health spending account eligible. Great question, Jen.
It is not yet, but these are going to be the things and the next evolutions that we're looking forward to. Right now, with the farm bill that came out that legalized hemp nationally, and we're starting to see that worldwide, we're still about to enter the new phases and next evolutions of our industry here. So it's coming. I feel it. We're close.
Getting there.
We're getting there.
Oh, Mark, this is Carrie. I know you have some other companies who have used this as wellness. Maybe you could tell some kind of the case study. And I know you already had like legal, because I know in HR, we're always nervous about, we're just nervous people. We should be, right? Because we have lawyers all the time and employees. So maybe you could, you mentioned a little that legal's already looked at it. And maybe, and I see Janet, California, because we're always so cutting edge in California, but other states, because I know CBD oil is legal in most states. So if you could maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
You know, first and foremost, as this is a brand new program, a brand new industry, and we are trying to be cutting edge, only working with a handful of folks so far. You know, this is where we want to get our message of education out there. And I think that, you know, going back to the, excuse me, just lost my train of thought there. I just put a couple different questions in my head because I went from Jen.
Case study for, because you've had lawyers look at
the other companies. Yes.
Yeah.
We are working with a couple of tech companies now, and they both vetted through their tech companies that everybody on here would know. They both vetted through their legal teams very quickly. And the preliminary feedback we have gotten from the team, for instance, one individual shared that her boyfriend also plays, you know, hockey for the NHL. So they take their broad spectrum and they put in their coffee every morning, and they love it. It takes that edge off, as Carrie was mentioning. Another employee also mentioned that, or rather the same employee actually mentioned that it worked so effective for them that she wanted to now buy this oil for somebody else she knew was going through a hard time, and they experienced massive benefit too. So a lot of different case study, or rather feedback coming back, but we're looking to spread the message more, and the point of this webinar, so we can start to get more of these case studies under our belt.
I think there's a couple more questions. One was, can you describe again the broad spectrum versus full spectrum, and just maybe again, because I finally understand CBD versus THC. So just explain that one more time. Would be
For
great.
sure. Broad spectrum, just look at it with 0 THC. Broad spectrum has no THC in it whatsoever. And CBD itself does not get you quote unquote high. At the same time, everybody's different. You could be that anomaly. I don't know, because we have so much more science and things that we have to understand. But CBD, as a general premise, does not get you high, and that's broad spectrum. Now, the full spectrum, there is trace amounts of delta-9 THC, which causes euphoria, and there's other of those chemical compounds in there. Considering that everybody is different, we're not quite sure how that might make you feel. It could make you tired. It could make you feel, you know, a little bit more euphoria than you were anticipating. But that's where you got to try low and slow, and make sure that you're in the safety and the comfort of your own home. But I can assure you, it's nothing like traditional cannabis, like high THC stuff. And you hear these stories of people getting an anxiety attacks and just too high. This is not that.
Right.
This is the opposite.
For HR, for a wellness program, the only thing you could probably limit to just by broad spectrum. Like that's all we're saying as a company, broad spectrum, because there's no THC.
Yes.
Okay. There's a couple more I see. Quick, the product organic, compliant, non-GMO, and grown in USA from plant to package is the product.
Organic, yeah. So right now, as the regulations are evolving, we're working toward our specific cultivation licenses in California. And so in the meantime, we're actually partnered up with an organic farm in the Carolinas. And so we work with them with the genetics and other things. And that is where we derive our product sets.
Nice. There's another, is there data on how it impacts productivity, good or bad, to help validate the job benefits?
Great question. You know,
I'm thinking Ryan wants to be a pilot program for you.
Yes, amazing questions. Well, all the people listening in, if you can participate and work with us, we can start gathering up this data real time.
This is cutting edge stuff. When I said this is, you know, you guys are this group is one of the first, a lot of HR people were like, I'm absolutely not going to attend this webinar. I'm too scared. And you guys aren't. So you could be case studies. I see another one. Maybe you can address how HR is already supporting employees with overall mental health. How could this be complementary to what HR folks already have? So it's not replacing anything, Mark. It's just additional. You have your Fitbit, you have CBD oil. Like it's just one more thing that employees can try, right?
Yeah, you guys are You guys are slaying it down here. I love it.
Good.
I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted too because I'm reading these questions that just came up. I'm getting more questions in my head.
I know you're getting more questions.
What's the
Alvar has
first
a lot
one?
of questions. Here, let me ask, does the wellness program assist in preventive measures for insurance or premiums? So like,
Not that
especially
I'm
with
aware of.
pain reduction.
Yeah, but I
What do you
think
think
that's
of
going to be
insurance?
coming as a compliment. Oh, that's the other question. And what's that as a compliment to what other companies are doing? I think lower hanging fruit things that companies are trying to do, which is amazing, is more on the mindfulness front. And you're hearing apps like Headspace and other things that try to guide people through meditation and that mindfulness technique. The problem is, it's almost like set it and forget it. But the reality is people need more encouragement. They need more guidance and education to further participate, right? And that's where we want to be further different and further innovative with how we work with the education. Things like this webinar. What you're going to see is that we've, as a team, have created some amazing education assets that we want to provide to your folks around dosing, around the best ways to use our products, what the most common questions you're asking right now around CBD. And as we partner and work together and be innovative leaders in this space, we can then evolve that FAQ from working with one another and figuring these things out real time and working with it as the industry revolves. So, but great questions again. Great questions.
I think too, with when we talk about sleep and the mindfulness, I will tell you that it sometimes, when people say reduce your anxiety, the CBD oil actually helps. This is what Kelly and I found. It actually helps you then sleep better, right? Versus like, it's a very practical, oil to help you sleep better instead of just telling you, which increases your anxiety, sleep more, sleep more. You're like, so quick question too is what makes your CBD oil different from the others? So why can do a wellness program with some other CBD oil? Mark, why is yours better?
No, that's a great question. Our mission is around promoting this plant and the benefits it can have. And if you found another company and another company's oil or products that work well for you, that's awesome. We don't want to disrupt that. However, what we feel we're doing truly different is the focus on genetics and some of the chemical profiles of the plant that we're working toward and that we have already, and possibly could be a great complement to what you use today, or can maybe even work better, but you never know until you try. And so, but ultimately, if you already found another company that works great, that's amazing. And that's right in line with our mission. So we love that.
Okay. Another question, is CBD oil part of the alternative medicine treatment, such as acupuncture, to treat the side effects of chemotherapy?
Most definitely. Now, how the true efficacy of it still remains to be seen through more studies and data, right? But the anecdotal stories are overwhelming again between CBD oil and cannabis itself of people that have received chemotherapy, and for them to be able to alleviate their nausea and to eat. When I was going out into the market and talking to some people, I got such crazy goosebumps. Someone telling me like, hey, someone smoked one of your cultivars. That's a word for strain, but we call it cultivar. And they said that was the first time they were able to eat in so long, and it helped eliminate their nausea. That is amazing. And that's a naturally alternative medicine. So yes, the anecdotal stories are overwhelming, but we need more science to truly support it through data.
Okay. So if there's I don't see any more questions. Kelly, did I miss any?
No, you did not. Nope.
Okay. Good. So I think, Mark, I know Kelly has some final slides, but I think, again, just want to say I'm so happy for our lovely and wonderful and cutting edge HR warriors who joined us. Because this is, again, cutting edge. I know we got a couple comments on that. And so be sure we'll have Mark's email soon on following up, and here's the action. See, Kelly already knows exactly what I'm going to say. She goes to action. So I will, real quick, what's the recommended dosage and how long does one bottle last?
Great question. Subjective somewhat, because how much are you using it and what and for what uses, right? So the bottle of our oil is very versatile. As mentioned, you can put it on your skin. You could take it orally, drop it under your tongue, add it to your coffee. And primary use cases, again, around pain, inflammation, anxiety. So it really depends on how much you're going to take and what frequency. But just to give you some answer, I would say roughly for the average person, let's say about 10 to 14 days.
Yeah. And I take, I do it twice a day, and I usually I don't take that much. So my bottle will probably last even longer than that. Although, you know, it depends. I can read a news story and chug the whole thing. I don't know, and the whole thing's.
Did I see a question coming from an ER?
You did. Look at that. I work in healthcare. Oh, Marie. In Kansas, anxiety is a very high. What is the legal liability the ER would have having a wellness program of CBD oil, which is an amazing question. Maybe you've talked about that with lawyers before.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for all your work on the front lines and everybody else that's fighting the good fight.
Yep.
And, you know, we wouldn't be able to even have the current infrastructure we have without all of you. So thank you so much. But for your question, you know, I'm not quite sure around the legality of that. So I don't want to exactly say what that is for the hospital side, but
right.
So I'm not quite sure. If you want my speculation, I could provide it, but I would rather keep it more objective and factual.
Yeah. But I think it's one of those things that go offline and talk to you and
for sure.
see what you can do. Because again, the broad spectrum is no THC. So that's where people are going to get twisted, right? Because, oh my God, it's a drug. Marie or someone. And I love ER because you put employers, because of course I thought ER room or employee relations. So thank you for Marie for saying that. Alvera, how effective, I just missed it. How effective is your CBD oil in the delivery system to the body? Meaning once taking your CBD, my body would extract 8% or 50% of the product in my body.
You know, another great question. I think we have much more to learn about bioavailability. So, you know, the amount of the compounds, the active ingredient, if you will, that can be absorbed into your system, into your body. But as a general whole, one of the most historical ways of consuming cannabis and hemp was actually through inhalation, and smoking being the primary one. You know, you look at our founding fathers like George Washington and a lot of other people, they grew this plant for not only textile purposes and other applications in our society, but they are clearly showed that they also grew it for flower and for consumption for therapeutic or relaxing type of purposes, right? So with that said, the inhalation and smoking is typically an onset of effects of about 5 to 10 minutes, and it comes on very strongly because of that model, of that method, whereas the oil, depending on your body and system, again, it can take anywhere from possibly 15 to 60 minutes to take into effect. And of course, with the skin too, it could be slightly different and it's going to vary. So, but that's a general guideline you can expect.
Awesome. And then Christine, I was like, Christine's already on it. Kelly has a slide for you. That's a perfect transition, Christine. Thank you.
Absolutely. So while I'm going through the action items for HR Warriors, if you want to continue to post your questions, and then we'll continue to have Mark answer them. I think this is like one of the most popular webinars we've done, right up there with Emma, who talked about insurance and how jacked up insurance is. So, put it really. So actions HR Warriors can take, because you're probably like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And as you can tell very easily, Mark could talk about this for days. He's got so much energy. Know where you're at. So just understand, do we have a wellness program? Do we not? Are we interested? What steps can we take? Talk with experts. So we'll include Mark's contact information. It'll be on a slide here shortly, along with the discount code. And it will be in an email I will be sending to everyone in the next day or two, with a link to this recording and other good stuff. Get a plan together. How are you going to present and sell this? Because as HR Warriors, we often have to sell and persuade our business leaders on why they should be taking advantage and looking at alternative ways to engage and offer unique programs to employees. What are the benefits? How are our employees going to benefit from offering these types of unique offerings? While this is maybe top of mind for you, among other things, this is but one of many things that your business leaders are hearing on a daily basis. So make sure you're following up, and don't just let the conversation happen once and let it go pass by. Make sure you're following up frequently. And then once you implement the program with Mark, reinforce and measure. How are things going? And then make that measurement, the data, visible to business leaders so they can see how amazing this program is, and what are some other unique ways in which you and Mark can partner in other areas, or keep the momentum going with the program. And if it's maybe not working as much as you had wanted to, recalibrate. How can you make it work? So those are some actions you can take. Any other questions that came through? Alvaro.
Yeah.
Reiterate my question. I understand the benefits of CBD. Is this approach just being shared with companies or businesses, or is it fusing into being integrated into preventative measures as a bigger safety benefit for businesses?
I think it could evolve many different ways. I think our core intention here is, if you take a step back, many employers are talking about wellness initiatives because they see the clear-cut benefit of it. I think the disconnect is, what do we do about it now? Mm-hmm. And the lack of resources, the lack of, financially, people-wise, whatever makes it extra challenging. So our goal and intention here is to help reinforce that initiative with something that's very easy to do, that's absolutely of zero cost, something that your staff might be interested in because it's so unique and different from something that you've ever done. But additionally, as people are working from home now and we start to experience this quote unquote new normal, this could be something that employers can easily do, that they don't have to lift a finger essentially to show their staff that they are thinking about them, that they care about their well-being. And then we can deploy this program without having to do anything at the offices themselves. And we do all the legwork, create the assets, we deliver the products, everything. So great question again, though.
Just let Mark take care of it. Just let him do everything. That's basically right?
No, it's a team effort. It's always a group effort. It's no single person's ever better than anybody else. We're all in this together.
Right. But it is nice to know that they are very much a partner with you in the conversation, and that it is, well, here you go, HR leader, and they walk away and leave you feeling like you have to do the bulk of the work, and that's not the case. So they're very much an advocate for not only the program, but also for its implementation and ongoing maintenance. So great point, Mark. Thank you. So
Thank you.
Continue, while we have a few minutes, continue posting any questions that you may have while I share with you some cool information. One is to review what we have to offer at a Broadsheet Group. We would love to partner with you at any time, so let us know what your needs are and contact us. Our resources page is where you can find this recorded webinar along with recorded podcasts, articles, blogs, everything and everything you can imagine. Post review of Carrie's book, The Way of the HR Warrior, on Amazon. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Follow us on social media. And what you're really interested in, and what you're hopefully writing down, is the discount code to receive 50% off your first order at efarms.com. Do that by Friday, May 15th. And there's also Mark's contact information, his email address, if you have any questions and you want to chat with him. He's a very likable person, so he will be
thank you.
So hearing from you, and he'll want to talk with you right away. Plus, we will choose a winner, a couple winners actually, one to win a copy of Carrie's book and another to win a complimentary CBD oil from Mark and Eve Farms. So make sure, and again, all of this information will be coming in an email. So if you forget what that discount code is or something, I will be sending that in an email, so no worries. All right. Follow us on social media. All of our tags are there. We would love to, keep connected with you. And stay tuned for our new podcast, which is coming summer 2020, or summer, I should say, a few months away. And again, thank you so much for making this a part of your busy workday. I know that there's so much going on. And speaking as someone who has used the product that Mark speaks so eloquently about, it really has made a difference just in my life as well. Carrie mentioned it earlier, but it really has completely taken away a lot of the anxiety that I normally have anyway. Then you add COVID, and that's like, I'm off in a different stratosphere. So it really has helped. And so I definitely encourage you to, even if you just want to try it for yourself, just to see what it's all about, to do it. And then, see what it can do for your employees, who I'm sure are, could benefit from these services too. So Thank you so much again for taking the time to listen to Carrie, myself, and Mark. Mark, thank you for making this a part of your day. And again, thank you everyone for all the work that you're doing and for being HR warriors and for fighting the tough fight for employees, regardless of where you're working in healthcare, again, being in the front lines, but you're in the front lines for employees. And so we thank you for all of your hard work and your effort. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Everyone,
everyone.
thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.